See if anybody's on board. A lot to get through, a lot to talk about. See what we're reflecting on. Got some more puffy news. Find out he's selling his stocks in revolt. So the way I understand it, he gonna need some big, big cash. Two ways it's gonna happen. It's either gonna be his get out of the states, or it's gonna be him fighting for his stakes. Either way, it's game over. And the lesson learned is that they are trying to downplay the way you know life, the way you remember life, the way things were. So it's a lot to be taken into, you know. And when I talk about these entertainment fields, I'm not just talking about just it from music and film, I'm talking about sports world too. It's all intertwined. They all run in the same circles. So chances are the things that you remember ain't gonna be the way they're gonna conclude. There's gonna definitely be some agendas that are being met. Uh, some things are gonna come out that aren't going to be so good. It's a real interesting time we're living in, and how you merge and launch your business. Now, the entertainment model is not going to go anywhere because you have the streams and you have the way they corporatize. However, one of the reasons why now, like if you're on YouTube or something, you see more entertainers or people coming towards it because this is the platform. There's a platform where people want to be heard and be seen. Going to those channels of the industry doesn't always cut it. So there's things that you can do now. There's ways that you can reach an audience. There's a way that you can explore and expound on what you're doing. So those days of being limited, having to deal with that industry, is coming to a screeching halt. So I tell people all the time, I said, now if you got a vision and you want to talk about things and reflect on things, you can create. It takes work, and it's a situation where you got to put the work in. But the reward is that you get to talk to people, be around people that you want to be around, and you don't have to get caught up in all the politics, of it. And so that dawn of a day is coming and arriving. It's always a shame, though, that when um, these sort of things happen, that they come with, how people are coming to take stuff out. So I'm doing all right. How you doing? What's happening, RT? What's on your mind? Let's chop it up. It's a lot of different topics to get into. Depends on what you want to talk about. I have been addressing the thing with Puffy. All right, welcome, G. Rue, Jacksonville, Florida. Good to see you. Good mind in the hospital. Well, prayers and thoughts are with you. Sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Prayers and thoughts are with you. GRU, how you doing from Jacksonville? Have some family there. Glad to have you come through. Always glad when people tell me where they're coming from, what's going on in their world, and what you want to talk about, and what's on your mind. And wishing people the best, because I know it's a very stressful, tension time. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm going to definitely send some thoughts and prayers to you. I appreciate you coming to talk to me. Um, Jacksonville, all right. Small world. Two folks from Jacksonville. Glad to have you both through. I'm sorry to hear that. I really, cancer's been a part of everything I remember for so many family members, and it's unfortunate. I believe that the countries benefit off that misery. There's got to be cures for it. There's no way in the world that possible, with all this time we done had it, they can't find cures for it. There's no way. So it's tough to tolerate. Really is. And I just, like I said, it's all for thoughts and prayers to everybody. I'm glad to have you come through though, but it's a tough pill to swallow. It really is. Very heaviness going on. Very heavy. And like I said, I'd like to send thoughts and prayers to everybody, and you know, and all I can do. What's up? What's up? How you doing? What's on your mind? What's happening? Glad to have you coming through. Kareem, what's up? Get them questions going and what's on your mind, and let's try to. There's a lot to digest. It's a lot. Everything going on with Puffy and everything going on in regular life. What's up, Ted? What's up? Oh, 30 point lead. Oh, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I tell you when we talk, I don't trust Tatum and Brown. I've said that many a time. I don't trust them. So am I surprised or shocked? See, I gotta hear Stephen A. and Paul Pierce and them go, ooh, Jason Tatum should be MVP consideration. Oh, they got the best record. Oh, I said, look, the eyeball test tells me the Denver Nuggets should win the chip this year. Yeah, I saw that too. I'm not surprised. I mean, again, that's not a shock. They are an overrated team. They're not that good. Kevin Durant does not have the moxie to lead a team. Lost passed away Sunday. I'm sorry to hear that. I am sorry to hear that. Rest in peace. There's a lot of heaviness going on. Lots of heaviness. Sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that. Ted, those two teams are suspect as I'll get out. And I don't care what the media got to say. They talking about his wife. They talking about the woman he's married to now. They're not talking about Larsa Pippen. They talking about Jordan's wife now. They're talking about his wife. Oh, shh. Why did she come up in the conversation? Why? I mean, Jordan doesn't say anything about LeBron. He doesn't say anything about. He doesn't even acknowledge him. LeBron does all the talking. This is a shame. Yeah, so you weren't quite born at the time, but yeah, Mark got on his jock. They were annoying, though, if you must know. Which, since I'm doing live, which I don't do in my regular videos, but I'll do it here because if anybody wants to listen, this is where I really unload. Ahmad was annoying. Ahmad was his own Air Jordan media. Okay, I mean, and it gets nauseating. It was nauseating. That's the one thing that they got in common, except Jordan only had one person who rode the jock. But it was just tiring. And they rode Jordan. They did. They slurped him. The thing is this, which I will tell anybody. Yeah. Well, no, he wasn't like saying stupid stuff like if my wife was on the edge of a cliff, I let her slip for LeBron. But he would be like fawning over him like a fanboy, like, oh, you know, they get paid to do that. They did it. They always, whoever's the big superstar, they slurp if they have to. Now, I will tell you this, there's a lot they didn't slurp. They kind of slurped Kobe, not all the way. They never slurped Duncan. They slurped Shaq. They didn't really ever slurp Dwayne Wade. They didn't slurp Steve Nash. They didn't slurp Durant. They fawn over Steph to an extent, but it ain't all the way fawn. He gets some fawn. Kawhi got no fawn. Giannis gets no fawning. A little bit, not a lot. Not a lot. Jokic gets no slurpage. Giannis gets some, not a lot. Jokic don't. Only if you really talking to the real ones. But my point is that they always have like that one. But yeah, Jordan had Ahmad on like payroll. I mean, it was, you know, he was always the one. But you got to remember something. It wasn't the mass media that you have now, too. Jordan didn't play when you had all these sports shows. True that. True that. See, they do it like how Troy Aikman and Jeff Buck would like Brokeback Mountain about Aaron Rodgers and about Andrew Luck. That was horrible. That was one of the worst broadcasts. I said, thank God those two didn't get in the Super Bowl because that'd have been Brokeback Mountain on TV. Those they were gushing over both them. But because you didn't have part interruption around and you had none of those shows were out when Jordan was playing. Thank goodness. But they were annoying about him. But they slurp who they, that's where they go where the money goes. So they want to slurp Luca though. And Tatum gets some slurpage. Embiid doesn't get a lot of slurpage. Not like that. So there's difference. Yeah, I remember Favre with Madden. It was nauseating because Barry Sanders got left out in the cold. Brady got slurped. Aaron Rodgers gets slurped. Begrudgingly, they have to do it to Mahomes. Begrudgingly. They romanticize Montana. Quarterbacks always usually if you're a winner, usually. Burrows gets slurped. Yeah, he does. Jalen Hurt doesn't. Purdy, it's in between. Depends on who you name, and I can tell you because they do with Dak, but they do somewhat, a little bit because he plays for Dallas. If he didn't play for Dallas, he wouldn't get half the attention. He get a little bit. Because you know how? Because they out there put him in the top 7 or 8, but we know he was more like 10 to 12. So they have slurped him, but that's because that star on his helmet. One for that star on his helmet, I don't know if he would get half the love Kirk Cousins gets. Just saying. Oh, I told you the smartest quarterback ever. If there was a GOAT for being the smartest, he's probably the smartest. How that cat stays getting contracts. I mean, he gets deals. Yeah, he do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They slurp Belichick. They didn't slurp what's his butt who was Super Bowl champion with Tampa Bay. He didn't get slurped. Uh Pete Carroll a little bit. Not Mike McCarthy. No slurp. Obviously Shanahan gets slurped. McVay got slurped. Sean McDermott, not so much. I'm a man, and I'm gonna get you off of here if you gotta ask. What's up, DL? He he got respected. He got respected. Um, he got respected. He got respected. He wasn't too black not to get respected. I gotta think of somebody to fit your criteria. Who would I say would fit that criteria? Who could I pick on? He got respected. His talent got him respected, but his attitude didn't. About Jeff George. Then only when he went to Seattle. It wasn't always the case. All right, Dio, what's up? Um, Cam got league MVP, so I can't say he was too black. It wasn't like, yeah, he did. And that, you know, that's a touchy one because I was in Seattle when that thing blew up. And um, who could I pick off? Who? They did do it to Cap, but once everything came out with his stance, they stopped. They cut the commercials, they cut everything. But they did. He did have the Dre Beats by Dre headphones. He did have the slurp. No, 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 no. Kitty was never slurp. I lived in Seattle. I knew a dude who went to school with him in Central Washington. He wasn't slurp. He sucked in Dallas. He had a little attention, but he didn't get blow up. They treat him like a second, third tier quarterback. Moon got in Houston like his 90s era, got it in hindsight, he got it later. He didn't get it, obviously. It was a later thing. It was a later thing. And they had to because they had to acknowledge him begrudgingly. So they didn't want to. They didn't want to. I don't know, not to Kitna though. No. He had some moment in Seattle. He had like a couple moments and he sucked them down. He ended up being what, a school coach or something? Yeah. But um Kaepernick comes to mind with the black quarterback thing. The reason being is because when the 49ers went that Super Bowl against Kansas City, if you remember, they acknowledged Montana, they mentioned Steve Young, and they had Jimmy G as the guys next. They didn't say nothing about Cap. So that was a first class diss. As he got older, but he sucked early on, but his college career and his later NFL career he did, not early on. All right, what's up? If you have a question, feel free to ask. What's happening, BS? If you talking when Alex Smith was there, not with Cap, not with not with Mahomes, not with the Mahomes era, the Alex Smith era, yeah, but not the Mahomes era. He beat Brady too. I remember that game. Yeah, they're pretty easy to like. I mean, they win and people love winners. But it's just a random thing. But there's certain people that definitely got, you know, caught love that didn't catch love, and he will be. He will maintain that until a few things happen. Either A, they get another cat that wins a ring that's black, or he wins again, and then they have to kind of do like Tiger, and they have to, you know, it's gonna go one of two ways. But you know, because Lamar wins and he says, "Bring out the Brinks truck," they're gonna be besides themselves. Because they'll never have a guy be that dominant. If Lamar was to win the ring and be the Super Bowl MVP with two regular season MVPs and a college Heisman Trophy, that ain't happened. That dude. So you know, it's a scary day for them. I don't like the Panthers either. So, but I got a friend of mine who does though. But everybody's got a fan though. So I think he's the elephant in the room. But I don't think that he. You know, I think they have to acknowledge him now. They have to. I mean, for crying out loud, the guy ain't even 30 and he's got quite a few guys' his career resume. What about Seneca Wallace? I mean, he did get the start right, right? Or did I miss something? Oh, you don't remember Seneca Wallace? You was scary. when he was in Seattle, when he was in Seattle, my boy and I used to crack up all the time because he ran some of them. I'm like, what is he looking at? Oh, he threw some wounded ducks. We cracked up. Oh God. I'm like, how did he? So last I knew he was in Cleveland. I was like, yep, that's where you. I was like, wow, that's where they all go. Yeah. I have to have a good laugh off of that dude because I thought, oh man, this cat, actually, I said, this cat, he's going to set black quarterbacks 100 years. And where they get Seneca from. In the name alone, if he was in wrestling, remember them broke Pent names? He'd have been Pent. Seneca Wallace, ding, 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 ding. I mean, but no, Jordan Love's gonna be. It's embarrassing for Green Bay as the first black one. That's embarrassing. As long as they've been around and all historical franchise and all that. And they had some little lame white boys too. And they just now getting a brother that they ought to be ashamed of themselves. I have no respect for teams with just first because with how long have you been around as a league? How long have you had option? That's embarrassing. That goes for any team. Yeah, I think they were just doing it as a kind of like the Rooney rules, just to say they had him around. But see, the thing about it is, even though people didn't like his throwing style, I remember Stephen A. Smith clowned it. He won games. He was over 500 quarterback. He actually had productive games. He was productive. They just didn't like him. Okay, what? I'm trying to, because I mean, I'm like, where are people coming from saying all kinds of stuff and they ain't saying nothing? I mean, like, if you got something to say, feel free to say. And I know that I'm picking up more traffic. I've been checking out things because getting some more views on some different topics I've been touched on, but I still like people to have real adult conversations, male or female. However, do please have conversation and then tell me where you're from and what you want to talk about. But to sit there and say some blanket statements about, well, what are you or Trumps and all this other stuff, I don't play mind games. If I was a mind reader, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be sitting on top of some high perched crib waiting for Puffy to probably fly next door because he probably would fly next door. He doesn't want it to work. I don't know. Okay. You gotta hire yourself some kind of DSSH or a magistrate, there is a legal there is a legal guard. There's someone legally that either can be and maybe if your mother or your father or somebody that can see the kids can be like a mediator. Like there's a mediator. There's a certain term of someone that can be the in between person. I would look into that. That's the best advice I would say. So be a grandparent or aunt, uncle, somebody on your side that would be a mediator that would be like a balance of shift. You don't want the courts to get into it. You don't want that because it means more money and a lot of sabotage. What do you mean in a in a cold weather state? Oh, well, I don't know what to tell Prime on that one. I mean, if you get drafted, you play wherever they send you. Yeah, even though being a social worker, it could still be a problem that that person would still be they're not above the law. Oh yeah, they most of them are. But you have to find a relative or somebody of a certain age that can go corner point that can make sure that things are balanced. That's what you do. You be as petty as they do. I don't April Fool's Pepper. Well, no one really gets me no more. Back in the day, they did. Uh, well, you got to look into it. I mean, again, with the church, that'll come in for you. Yeah, but I'm telling you, with the church, somebody will put the word for you. Now I don't get caught with the April Fool's Day peas no more. Them days is long gone. Well, I'm just saying, if you tie into a church and you have association, that should be a leeway to leapfrog you. Somebody will definitely speak up on your behalf. So, no matter where you are, and see, it's actually as a military person, you can use that to your advantage too. So, you could definitely speak on that. Thought I knew what? Thought I knew what? I'm trying to give you some advice of how to approach this. I'm telling you that there is legal counsel. They have court appointed that they can. There's where you should present it to the law. I had to go through a whole certain personal thing, and I'm just trying to say I had to deal with the mediator, and there was a division for children where if you meet with them, there's a way that they make a middle ground. I'm telling you, they have a document. I'm just trying to tell you again, there is a system that you can go to that will balance out visitation rights. And with your receipts of your proof of payment, that you can get this done. There's ways around it. Well, if you're not going to listen, there's always somebody that will help you. Everybody's not against the man. I did the video about it. Did you see my video? I've met some common, decent church people who, okay, yeah, I did a video about it. But then you presented, there will be, I don't know what your financial situation is, but there's lawyers who would definitely take that on family court law. Family court is not the regular court, but there's someone that appointed that will, if you live in a town that has any type of street lawyers at your local library or any kind of thing, look them up. That's the best advice I could give. They always do. But yeah, Ted, I did. I did that video today. Hmm. I saw the whole thing with the coach, and they were in Idaho, which is known for being Clanville, by Washington State and by or all that stuff. It's white supremacists. A lot of stuff going on there. Of course, they're gonna make you sound like you're crazy, but you still have to fight it, and you have to get someone who can finagle it and finesse it in a court way, family court. They'll tell them you don't want this to be a legal matter because then you got hope in Cali. Cali's a no fault state, and there's ways. Every state's a woman state, but I'm gonna tell you something. If you've got receipts, there are centers that will help you. I'm telling you, go find a local library. Ask somebody if they have like what we call street lawyers. And if they have like offer advice and counseling, they can't do that if they're under. And if they're 16 and older, they can. If they're under 15, they can't. You can get a court injunction. That's what you got to do. So what if she has you follow? But if you get a court injunction, she can't do nothing without the consent because she has to notify you if they move. If they leave the state without your consent and your rights, they're breaking the law, and you can hold her in contempt. Know your laws. Well, that's documented. Tape it. Use it as evidence. Make sure you tape all that. Make sure you have that documented. Make sure you have dates and times. Make sure you have places and everything. You have to use that to your advantage. I will take your word for it because I don't want. I'm not. I'm currently not in the vicinity of that area, but I'm giving you the best sound advice I can give you. I believe you. I went through something, and it was pretty heavy. However, once documents and everything came out in the courts of laws, only side was trying to stipulate and to manipulate. However, my rights weren't. I had a lot more rights once I gone to the proper channels. If they do anything, they have to consent with you. Depends on how old the children are. So you have to use that to your advantage. So you have to strategize and think calm. Don't be rational. Be calm. See, I don't know you like that, but let's just say I went through a situation where, yeah, I can relate. Let's just say that. And I got out of it. Had to pay child support stuff, but I did. Makes no difference. If you have an injunction, if you can you submit it to the courts, they got a translator. Yeah, they does. Of course they do. Because technically, that's where they're going with everything now. They're trying to make you accountable when it's in the fetus. They've changed the laws in case you ain't noticed. So now you're hook. You're on the hook. You got that 18-year mortgage plan if it don't work out. Yeah, sometimes it be like that. I'm not making light. I'm being real with you. I got a cousin of mine. He had to pay child support to his daughter till he was 25, 26. They got a lot. This was in Jersey. They got it like that in Mississippi too. Okay. Believe me, the system is not fair for men at all. So it is real. Well, if you were married and you have citizenship and you have dual citizenship or you have something, then you got that on your side. So you have to make sure you understand that, but they can't just go back and forth without things being documented. There's things that you have to. I don't know where everybody else went. Stuff got heavy. Oh, it got heavy. I mean, on my personal side, I'm still thinking about the Puffy situation. I'm still talking about Puffy, but I welcome all conversations. This one got real heavy. Yeah, well, I'm blood too. And I'm telling you, you gotta find ways to get that thing. What I had to do. DSSH. Uh, if you got the money with a lawyer, then you have to submit papers. You have to and if the kids are under 15, they can't leave without consent. It's part of your rights because you did not give consent for them to. You want visitation rights, so you have to emphasize all that. Well, you have to look that up. If you don't know, he in a lot of trouble. It's trafficking. It's sex work. It's a lot of stuff. It's heavy. The feds raided his house yesterday. That's pretty been documented for 25, 30 years. But that's the least of his worries. Most of them in the industry are, though. Think he's anything because he's submitting a lifestyle. As the liquor is what's kept the money for him. He ain't sold no music in years. So you know about Hollywood if you know about that. The feds is on him. Yeah. And that's real. When the feds get up on you, that means what you think. I'm not talking about on a highway trafficking women and different things. That's what's up. Yep. It's very serious.
Okay, I found this on the web for Is There a Series? Check it out.
Yeah, he did all that. All that. Yeah, that's a lot going on with that. Well, the only way being because then if that's some serious charges that your allegations against the mother, so that's some serious allegations. I hope it's not the case, but you know, you gotta get a detective then if you feel that she's suspect. That's real out here. But see, the entertainment industry is a different situation. They've been doing stuff. There's a lot going on. A lot. What number is that? Is that your regular number? Because I want you to like when you send some put stuff like that, be careful because you never know. There are some people who be through here and they, are just asking. Thank you back for coming back, Ted. Thank you. Well, that's a whole nother story. I had to talk about that another time because there was some situations with that, but I not for myself personally, but for somebody that I know that they had, I believe, allegedly their son paid a price because of some stuff with that. Well, I don't really celebrate holidays, but I eat. I don't really have favorite holiday. I used to. I don't really have anything because I don't really get into holidays like that anymore. Songs, Donny Hathaway, this Christmas. I love that song. Jackson 5, James Brown. I did like Elvis's Blue Christmas. I like this holiday music. Nat King Cole, that thing. But yeah, MR, that's a pretty heavy stuff. That's pretty heavy. But however, you have to have you have to have, you go to a lawyer with your documentations and your proof and what you have, somebody to work with you with the right cash, they can flip that. They can flip that. That's what I would tell you. Interesting take, Ted, though. I hadn't even thought, because yeah. And the Whams Last Christmas, I like that a lot. That's one of my favorite songs. If I like the songs, favorite 90s movies, well, it starts with Men's Society, Boys in the Hood, Goodfellas. Those are three come off the top. Um, To Sleep with Anger, Grand Canyon with Danny Glover, I like those a lot. Um, Set It Off, Friday. Good. I gotta think about a lot of 90s. There's a lot of movies I liked in the 90s, believe it or not. I just gotta get them to come to my mind off the top. Um, I like this little indie film called The Inkwell. Malcolm X, of course. Um, The Matrix. A lot of them. There's a lot of different movies in the 90s I like. That's a good question because the 90s was I tell it all the time, and I don't know if it was because I was in my 20s then. I don't know. But the 90s, just like the last year, that resonated with me for real. I don't know. Yeah, one of them two or three. So what you think about Puffy, Ted? What's your thoughts? I like the 70s and 80s horror movies. I thought they was the last. I thought the 90s was the last era of it, though. I'll give you that, the last era, because everything after that became sci-fi, and then we load into anime and all that. I thought that was the last era of it, though. I'll give you that, the last era of it. Because I guess they called the Blair Witch Project or the horror movie. I don't know what that mess was, though. But anyway, what's your thoughts on Puffy? Let's get the Diddy out the question. It's the elephant in the room. Everything about Puffy. Y'all here floating somewhere. True that. Oh, so funny you say that. He might link up and he also might snitch him out. But yeah, wouldn't that be something? Big fish to fry. You never know. Yeah, Russell be doing that yoga over there. I see Russell. It's funny for me because, you know, you grew up watching these people. You seen them. You seen them from way back. I did. And it's a trip how this turned out. You know, I was a kid when Russell was happening and Trump, all that. Now there's no trust in that industry. There's no trust for nothing. But the problem is that Russell got no choice because Russell can't go nowhere. He got to be cool. But they know each other's dirt, though. Believe me, it's a game of chess. It ain't checkers. Everybody at the table knows. But that might be something that the FBI say, look, we'll flex if you snitch. Get him to say something. I know that they were cool, but Puffy was involved. I know that. I know that. I know Suge. They pushed an agenda for Pac on death row, and he wasn't the same. But I don't think Suge had him taken out though. Puffy sounds more like there was more going on. And Biggie pretty much got along with everybody, really. Really. Believe it or not, Biggie wasn't doing anything to draw that kind of attention like Pac was. Not like how Pac got down with Death Row and was kicking and beating up folks. Biggie wasn't into Biggie did stuff he got in trouble. I believe it was Puffy crew. I do believe Puffy knew about it. I don't think Biggie knew about it. I think Puffy did though. I never thought Biggie was involved, but I thought Puffy knew. Because it's mighty funny. Puffy and him never went to go visit him in jail and lock up when he went to Rutgers. So, and they didn't put no bail money up for him either. Well, I know Biggie didn't have no money. Puffy had little loot. Yeah, it was an inside job. But it was done to kind of weaken him. They didn't want to take him out. They put 5 caps in him. They weren't trying to take him out. That's what they used to do back then. That was keeping it street. You get shot 3 or 4 times in your leg or shot in your butt. It's crazy. This is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You watch The Sopranos? Did you watch The Sopranos? Because there was an episode in there where Tony was messing with some rappers, and of course, Lord Jamar was in one of the episodes. And anyway, dude said it was real popular. I am not making this up. It was popular to get shot in your butt. There you go, right there. Taking a bullet, going to prison, um, playing like you a dealer. It's some crazy stuff. I mean, cats really be like overacting adaptation. It's hilarious. Yeah, I'm from the streets and I'm gonna keep it real and yeah. And then a lot of them be acting what you see in hip hop. A lot of them is actors. So when I see Method Man, for instance, about you know what I'm saying, he's still talking. Like I said, look, man, you are paid. They got your hair fine combed and your teeth is clean. Come on now. American History X was a strong movie, very strong movie. Edward Norton did a great job in that movie. You know, it was very real in the sense that things ain't always like what you think. Much as them Nazi cats hate brothers, they gonna work with brothers, and they will do anything to get the business. Work with your enemy. People don't understand until they understand how it goes. It's not always what you think. Excuse me. But anyway, I always remember that scene too. If they when they lock him up, but I think he gonna flee the country first. Oh, it's a death sentence. There ain't no mistake about it because this feds and there's no way around it. They got money laundering probably. They got trafficking. They got you know. And I told people all the time. I said his is worse than R. Kelly's, way worse. Not even close. But the worst thing that happened to them is when R. Kelly got locked up. Because now they looking at everybody in the bird's nest to come and get you. And they know how you all got down. And one of these rappers is going to get hit like, well, in terms of well, if you're asking, depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about what their trouble situation, he looks better. Not a lot, but he looks better. If you're talking about as an artist, that's not up for discussion. These dodo heads out here who we talking music. Come on now, R. Kelly is like, how could I say it? R. Kelly's like Steph Curry and Puffy is like Austin Rivers. Okay. Yeah, well, it's similar. They got him for like trafficking cross state line. They what they did is he got a double jeopardy. They used the pass, which they didn't do 20 years ago. But see, I tell everybody what his situation was this. His money just went funny. It wasn't because they just his money went funny. So when you can't pay him off, then all of a sudden you start asking about your money. I believe he went in there and said, "Where's my masters? Where's my money?" They said, "Oh, that's how you coming? Okay, we're gonna straighten you up, boy. We got you." I think that's what they did to him, and they said, "We're gonna show you what we made of." Then they got Dream Hampton, who used to associate with Jay Z from Vibe magazine, and had the documentary. That was a takedown. That was an industry push. They paid money to push that out there. They had TV pressure. Whenever you ever seen a documentary that put pressure on you for a verdict or a decision, that's the first of its kind. So with Puffer, they went more methodical with gathering this and doing that with Cassie and etc. With R. Kelly, they came from a whole different angle. And we know he ain't the only one that should be locked up. And we know that they put a crazy, that RICO charge is ridiculous. You know, they put him for 10 or 15 years and got him out in 8 to 12. I say that would have made sense. But this RICO charge, and some of them charges are comical. Some of them are comical. He won't be. I tell it all the time. You got the as Paul Mooney says, complexion for the protection. Then I add for the direction. And got unless he becomes like Harvey Weinstein broke, They don't do that to white boys. I know you're gonna say that. I know you're gonna throw Kevin Spacey at me because he did go to London, but even that was kind of like low key. There wasn't no heavy sensation for that. But they know what he was doing. They don't hold the white boys the same. You know, Hugh Hefner got like a slap on the wrist. Well, what do you mean when you say doing big things? Because he's still wrestling. He's getting paid, but he doing big. He's still ran by Vince too. So what's he doing big? Tell me what you defy as big. I don't know what big things is no more wrestling. Okay. He's still selling merch. Yeah, I remember when Owen Hart died too. I remember that too. Well, I already spoke about that. I did a video on that. I touched on that. I don't really waste my time with that mess because they're not talking about nothing. They are just part of the Hollywood plantation. I spoke on that. I don't pay it no attention. Um, they don't speak out on nothing. They just bought and paid off by the Hollywood pimps, suits. That's all it is. No, he's a media actor, and what I mean by that, he's a big boy. He doesn't have. It's an appeal as a leading man, but it's more like a Ving Rhames, maybe Wesley type. There are women who dig that in him, but he doesn't resonate like so. He never would gotten Michael B. Jordan roles, but Chadwick Boseman maybe. But I don't know because he was on The Wire when he was younger. We'll never know. That era of him, he did The Wire, and he didn't translate to the big screen, if you know what I mean. So we'll never know. Um, to be the next Denzel, I think the closest one, I think Chadwick, but Chadwick didn't have um, Michael B. Jordan's charisma. So if you put the two together, there's your next Denzel. If you took the best of Chadwick Boseman acting chops and Michael B. Jordan's uh, charisma and how to utilize him, I think you'd have like that right there. You know, but it's I don't see anyone as the next Denzel. I see people being themselves, but I don't see anyone like that because that took a whole different mantle. You gotta understand with nobody, nobody. You're talking about a guy who was dominant in music with the group, dominant solo, TV career, film career. That's four things. And those days are not happening again because we don't have a young. So if I throw Bow Wow Nick Cannon at me, what reaction do I get from you? Bow Wow Nick Cannon, what's your reaction? Thought so. Now, the reason why I say that is because Bow Wow, like Romeo, start off young, did TV, did film, did Be Like Mike Part 80. I don't something like that. I did like Roll Bounce. Nick Cannon, Nickelodeon, right? Love Don't Cost Thing. Did the movies. I used to watch all his movies, even though they were only good for about 3 in the morning. Then most of the movies, he ain't gonna never get no prime time. I watched some of them. Some of those things were, but it's just because I like Nick, but them movies were corny. Okay, let's just keep it 100. Most of his movies, aside from Roll Bounce, which I liked a lot because it took me back, and Little Don't Cost a Thing with Keen, with Cal and Keen. He had a couple movies I liked okay, but a lot of stuff was corny. But that's what I'm talking about. You asked that. Well, Nick had a successful TV show, Wild and Out. There's variety shows. Had a little music career. Well, depends on what you think of it. There you go. That's the closest answer I can give you. Because Nick did 99 things. Now, 97 on me didn't do that good, but I'm just saying, there you go. Um, if we want to talk about a cat that's an entertainer who didn't rap, but you can make an argument for Jamie Foxx. I mean, TV, film, music, comedy. There you go. Depends on how you look at it, what your criteria is. But there ain't gonna be no next Will though. America used to love Will. And some still like him, but he ain't loved like he was. He ain't where he was. It ain't the big Willie Styles. This ain't like the 97, 98 Will getting jiggy when he could do no wrong. Yeah, he was a moneymaker, and you know, I know Bad Boys 88's coming out, I already know. And they got money for him. They're not that mad at him. They've moved on where they're not holding Chris Rock against him and trying to, air him out. He's one of the protected ones. He plays the game. So, I respect Will, but I'm not blown. I'm not, but you got to remember this commercialization. There's a commercialization of it. So, it's not just, it's other factors involved. It's the machine. He got the machine on him. Um, Not so much in comedies though, but when he did Rocky and Rambo, yeah, that's where his bread and butter was. He brought, he created characters that were all. What you trying to ask me about Sly though? What you want to know? What you want to say about Sly? It's about Mike Tyson. Yeah, well, most heavyweight champions had that appeal though. That there was George Foreman, obviously, Ali, of course. Tyson had that. They had some kind of appeal. But if you were too black and scary looking and looked like you combed your hair every other Tuesday, Larry Holmes, then that's no. Ken Norton Sr. had appeal. He did movies. Joe Frazier had commercials. Big Cat Ernie Ladd, football did boxing. So that's how I would describe Tyson. He shuffled, but he had appeal though. I mean, he was one of the most charismatic fighters ever, in and out the ring. He was. I ain't gonna argue that. He had appeal for boxing. Like if you were a boxing fan, yes, he was crossover. But if you're just talking about he didn't really, he had no commercial. Sugar Ray had charisma for days. That's why they gave him that fight. Sugar Ray knew how to play to the camera. Sugar Ray was like acting, and he knew how to. He had that it. He had that it. See, when I had these discussions about people having that it, they know. Yeah, he attacked you high or low. Like when he fought against Hitman, he had to be a thinking man's fighter. A lesser man is knocked out the first round. His behind is knocked out through the ropes because Hearns was putting stacks on him. But he figured was because Hearns didn't have no legs. Hearns was legless. It's all bone and legs. So it's like if I wear him out, he wears himself out. That Jericho just gonna go flying, and he gonna go flying. That was the baddest fight I've ever seen in my life. Those 3 rounds were the most incredible, incredible. Cats gave me everything they had. They was putting it all out there. They went to town. It's all like someone said something about some of my mama, and they just went at it. That was a fight. Then, and I'm a Hearns fan big time, and I respect Hagler, but I didn't want that fight to end. Yeah, he was. He was strategic, underappreciated, but he came along. He blew up in a time when heavyweights wasn't the same. That's unfortunate because he's one of the greatest pound for pound. So, yeah. But I do know that, when you start talking about crossover, they have people that they align, and it's almost like a light bulb goes off. They say he gets it, he gets it. It's like De La Hoya was that dude. Yeah. He was a raw bone. He was a raw bone. He hit your pressure point, he hit your temple. His thing was about take a punch and then attack you and get you up out of there. That's why a lot of his fights didn't go more than 3 rounds early on. Very few guys knew how to keep it and make it go 5 or 6. When they started going longer, that's when his bionic power started to wear off because then he wasn't the same enforcer and he had lost a lot of touch. That's why when he started to fall off, it wasn't because he was older or he'd been out the ring, but his problem was is that he didn't have that, he hitting guys, but he ain't connect them like that no more. And these guys, their necks a little bit. Some guys you fighting, the neck is upward, and they weren't. Yeah, Holyfield was just a gem of a fighter. He really put in the work, and he worked hard. He's what I always say. He might not have been the most talented, might have not been the best, might not have been the most fastest, quickest, strongest, etc. But you did not work him. He outworked everybody pretty much, and that's what made him a great fighter. That's the advice I would give anybody. Don't let nobody ever outwork you. They can be better than you, skill wise, more talented. Just don't let them outwork you. And he didn't get outworked. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Like I said, he one of my most impressive fights was when he fought Riddick Bowe because he was losing that fight. He made it in such a contest that Bowe had to get his respect. He would fight up to guys. He fought you. He was strong and he could take a punch and he could give you punches and you had to be in good shape to keep up with him. That's the thing. He wasn't letting go. So yeah. But I respected Sugar Ray though. He talked trash, but what he did is the showmanship. When he do his shuffle and like move around you, I mean, he got that out the Ali playbook and stuff, but he had his own charisma. He was just a charismatic cat. And white folks loved him because I'm gonna tell you, he had the son with the girlfriend before they got all that, and he was wilding. They covered him. Yeah, yeah, his was a different situation too. The first guy I ever known that was mic'd up in the ring, and yeah, well, Sugar Ray did too. He talked. He had moments, and he had battles too. Roy Jones did too. I enjoyed them both. They were different types of fighters. Roy was a more body artist. Sugar Ray was a jab step move. He could hit you. He was underrated as a for power because he definitely upped his skill set after he fought Hagler and Hearns and Duran. Respected him. Um, Except for some of that the fight when he fought was it Sweet when he fought Sweet Pea or something, and he knew he lost, but they gave it to him because he was the flavor. Uh he was good with a jab. He had a good jab. He had good counters. There was parts of him that were great. I'm not taking that from him. I just didn't like the politics. The problem I have with boxing is that when they have their boys and the ones that they like, then they have a tendency to, you know, um, you know, be funny with the verdicts. Well, I'm not thinking offhand. I mean, I'm not going to. I just liked his aggressiveness. I think I liked how he countered the body. Something I can say with B Hop. B Hop had a strong attack. I like that about him. You know, um, he definitely had a good attack. I'm not gonna remember every fighters. There's certain fighters I will because I'm gonna be out of respect. But when you ask me, there's certain guys that I have more. Now, like I said before, Hearns was my dude. Hearns could hit. I still think he got robbed out of the Sugar Ray fights. But I can't hate because Sugar Ray knew how to act to the camera. And it is part showmanship. One thing about boxing, it's not just because of what your fists do, it's what your moves do. You got some wheels, you got some handles, and can you basically model for the camera? What you find out about boxing, the ring girl holding the numbers up ain't the only one holding up the numbers. It's a lot of theatrics that go on with it. So you gotta sometimes you gotta do like George Foreman did when he fought Michael Moore. He said, "I gotta knock him out because if I don't, the judges ain't gonna give it to me." That's when you know the fighters you're fighting against. When you got to fight against the zebras too, you're not gonna win. So you better knock them out. So all right, so we'll work on it. What kind of stupid rule they got now? I'm not around my. They don't want. I don't know what they doing with that crap. I don't know what they doing with that crap. Well, I don't want him to be compared to Barry Bonds. I mean, I'll have to look up that kickoff rule, but I know that he's suspect as all get out. I'm not buying that he's some 40 or 39-year wonder kind, especially when he always claiming he's got a hurt ankle and a hurt this and a hurt that. How you healing, yo? You're not playing defense. You're shooting some stand up threes. You're hitting some shots, but your team is still eighth, ninth seed. What am I? What am I? You got to do all that just to front, whereas opposed to let your body break down and you're not a playoff team because the NBA can't stand the thought that you couldn't be a playing team. Oh wow, wow, wow. See the what I loathe and why it's so fake and fraudulent to me. What I loathe about it is that well, actually they beat them the last time. Remember last time they didn't have him, and the Lakers actually played better without him. We don't talk about that much. They did put up that they won that game. D'Lo went off that game. AD was scary. You're looking scared in that game though. But the problem with his situation is for all that he's doing, they're only a lower seed team. Let that sink in. And they're getting all this attention. They're getting all these free throws, all this hype. And they've been a playing seed team for what now, 3 straight years? What gives? What gives? So it's embarrassing, you know. So I find it very insulting. Well, he he got every right not to want to play them guys. What's up? How you doing? What's happening with you? Well, Riley wasn't gonna let him take over the team. I'm doing this chat, and if you got a question, feel free to ask. Because if you don't say something and you don't say what your questions is or anything like that, I'm gonna have to take you out of here just out of respect. He old school. You gotta remember something. Pat come from the old school, y'all. And most of the cats that Pat Riley keeps around earn their keep from working hard. He doesn't go for the fanboy, pretty boy, soft generic cats, superstar. He likes both worlds. Don't get it twisted. Riley's best of both worlds. Yeah, I remember 66. He came up in a very segregated and all that. I understand all that. But as a coach and what have you, he had a blue collar but with a white collar mindset. I need to work the best to win. He watched and observed. You see, Arbach had a hard-nosed line. However, they like style and pizzazz. He had to learn how to be the best of both worlds. You had to be classy at kicking someone's behind, but you still had to have it in syncopation. You had to have style and flair, but you worked hard. Make it look like it's like making you like the best band you could be. That's what he did. That's a lost art because mostly teams are sloppy. Yeah, he was. But you know who else I think is hard nosed? Is Mike Malone. Let's bring it up to 2024, shall we? That man's hard nosed. I watch how the Nuggets play. See, no one talks about this. That's why I bring it here on this forum. I If I talk about the Nuggets in my videos, I might get like 3 people. I watched the precision. I watched the passes, the accuracy. I saw KCP hitting shots. And I told you, MPJ is the clay. He's scary. He balling now. Once he got that first ring. Oh, and Jamal, I'm like, who's beating them? Nobody. Nobody beating them. Aaron Gordon then found his. I mean, come on, ain't nobody beating them. Ain't nobody beating them. Eventually, I bet they win this year. They'll definitely get some free agents on the bench next year. They're gonna be tough to beat. Jokic is only getting better. And they showed pre-all at the All-Star game. They're not playing. They're not playing. That's why I I don't like watching these shows and on these heads on TV because that's the best player, best team. Ain't up for discussion. Boston might have a better record, but they can't beat no Denver. Not no 7-game series. Everybody's healthy and all wheels of the line. Denver's winning. Did you see that block he did? He was it Jackson from Memphis? He knocked him in the ball down. I was like, whoa. Yeah, that was something to see last night. I caught that highlight clip. I was like, oh, DeAndre's playing? Oh, they're not losing. They're not losing. They're too good. Yeah, it got my attention because I was like, dang. I said, DeAndre. I mean, and he's in a great situation because just like Aaron Gordon, playing with Jokic is only going to make you better. That's a grown man's team. And like I said, I look at them and I think their fingers fit to be fingered again. Can't see nobody beating them. So yeah, if you don't have to do a lot and you can play your lane and your role, he fits in really good with the second team. He can come in on the first team. He can give you assists. He's underrated as assist man. He got good ball handling skills. Knows how to pass that rock. If he scores about 6 to 10 points, that's gravy. So that's why I'm noticing that. I watch them. They're the only team I really like to watch play because I like the agility and the speed and the manner they play in. When I say that, I'm talking about from a championship perspective. I'm not saying that the only team I like to what that's not an enjoyable team. However, from a championship, when I see a team that should be winning it, that's them. Yeah. It's the only team that I look at and I say that's championship quality. I don't feel that way about no one else, really, if I'm honest. I think it's them and it's everybody else before you ask. And no, I'm not no, not a Nuggets fan like that or nothing like that, but I do think Jokic is the best player going, and I like the way they play. I like the way their foursome plays. I respect Malone's coaching. They're not my team, and I'm not gonna jump ship because there's no Nugget fans. I mean, the ones that are Nugget fans are diehard. However, them boys is no joke. They're a bigger version of what Golden State was. That's why Golden State ain't got a chance against them. You can't touch that. You can't touch that wire because it will execute you. Yeah. I mean, they got a scary squad. They got size, they got athleticism, they play the ball the right way, and they spread you out. And you pretty much better have a Kyrie throwing a left hook or something crazy to beat them because they can walk you down and they're not gonna blow it. And I'll tell you like this: as long as nobody doesn't get hurt, they're not losing. I can see that already. You can quote me now. Everybody's healthy. They're not losing. I see nothing. I see nothing. Unless, of course, the referees or someone gets hurt that will get in the way. That's the only thing I can see that get in the way. Can't see nobody beating them in no 7-game series. I don't see it. That's the only team I feel that way about, too. The only one. Now, before you get at me about so and so's MVP or this and that, I'm not arguing that. And I ain't arguing about others. But if you're asking me about a team, we talking team here for like Iverson. We talking team, TEAM. No one's beating the Nuggets. So if anyone sees this live stream that wants to watch it a couple of days later and they come to a part and they say, oh, he emphasized that, I'm emphasizing it. I'm emphasizing it for good measure. Nobody I see is beating this team. Nobody, in my personal opinion, is on their level. Nobody. Oh Lord. They say they have identity issues. I don't know about that. They got waxed by the Pacers. I don't know about that. Okay, I'll bring these.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I'm gonna break this down for you real quick. The Clippers, Kawhi's got to be healthy, motivated. Paul George got to be healthy, motivated. Harden, Russell, they got talent to be a problem, but they got to win their series. See what they do the first round. See who they draw. They lost to Phoenix last year. They should beat them this year. If they get 2 rounds deep, they're a problem. But I got to see it first before I believe it. Heat fan, I know about the switch, and it could happen. But they too light and too short to beat the Nuggets in the finals. They don't. It's not a good matchup for them. It's not a good matchup. They don't have the size, and they don't have that guy that can spark and score against Denver. Denver's bench wore them out last year. They're just too big for them, and they need somebody that can score. You need a guy who can be a cherry picker, and Miami doesn't have that. That's not how he play basketball. So you would need a guy like that who could score 20. I don't see them beating that team. Yes, they could win a game, maybe two. But to beat them in a 7-game series, I can't see it. They got a system, but they're not equipped to beat no Nuggets. They got swept by them this year, and it was just like the finals. Okay, I watched, and I saw the same thing that happened in the finals happen again. Third quarter, they put their butt to sleep. They walk them down. Miami starts now. The only person, because of his size and he can shoot a little bit outside because he's developing. So Bam is can kind of take joke a little bit, but they got to have someone else kind of rotate. Duncan Robinson was a good fit as a starter there, but they didn't get much out their bench against them. Jimmy Butler wasn't that a factor. So that's why I'm telling you. Now, Scary Terry could be a problem, but I just don't think they can beat Denver. I just don't see it. I don't see it. You got to have another piece to emerge, and they don't have enough firepower. That's a fact. The size and not enough firepower is why I don't think they can do it. He ain't the answer against his team. I'm gonna say it again. He ain't the answer. He good for what he do, but they'll remember something. He's pushing 58. He ain't the answer. If there was Kevin Love Minnesota era, then we got a ball game. We got it. As a matter of fact, we that Kevin Love right now, they're coming out the East. But that guy is long gone, okay? So we're talking 10 years ago. He's older now, and unlike the LeBron, unlike the juicer, ain't no juice in the love, ain't no Kev lover, ain't no Kevin liquid. So I just want you to understand what I'm saying, because I don't think you're getting what I'm saying. They gotta have a certain components to beat this team. They don't have it. Well, he do. I mean, he is. I mean, he's not asked to do. He playing good. He's still throwing passes and stuff, but he is a senior. I mean, compared to the way the NBA is today, yes, yes, yes. I ain't stutter. NBA that you watch and the NBA that I watched growing up is two different NBAs. Back in the day, you'd have a guy, 37, 38, 39. That's rare. Miami had Udonis last year. That's rare. The cats coming today, old dudes like 25, 26. They don't they don't carry that guys like that. What's your bold take? They don't carry guys like that today. They younger. Even with the restrictions on age coming to the league, they still come in young. So imagine if it was allowing high schoolers to come in. Okay. He's a senior citizen because he's not, first of all, at this stage, he's what I call a third tier player. He fits in good. He has some great moments, but he ain't the dude he was. Well, yeah. I mean, it's okay. Does he rival LeBron James right now? Does he rival Kevin Durant right now? Does he rival Kawhi Leonard right now? Does he rival Steph Curry right now? Four guys are his peers. Four of his peers. Does he hang with them four at this stage? Okay, he is. And Clay is still more scary than Kevin Love because Clay can still go off. You saw that game against the Lakers almost 2 weeks ago. You saw what he did. He'll give you one of them games. Kevin Love don't play like that. Kevin Love give you the passes and the rebounds and some blocks and stuff. Clay can have a moment. Clay's good for about every 5 or 6 games because he ain't healthy and he's asked to do too much. I don't think it's a senior citizen because his plays decline. I think it's because he's on the spotlight on a hot seat in Phoenix. You know why? Because there's no leaders there. No one is worried about Durant and no one's worried about Devin Booker. And Bradley Beal is somehow asked to tie it all together when he has been able to play free ball most of his career. And free ball means you just shoot and just shoot and shoot. No one is looking at Bradley Beal like he's going to, like he's supposed to morph into Isaiah Thomas or Steph or morph into a Dwayne Wade or something when that's not his tape. He's senior citizen. It's good, but it ain't championship good. Okay? See, when I say Steph, LeBron, Durant, Kawhi, they all get love. They still can carry it. No one is looking at cats that's like role players. The guys right now are basically senior citizens. Kevin Love, Clay Thompson, Eric Gordon are senior citizens. I don't put Bradley Beal in there because he can still play. And he's younger than them. He's younger than 35, 36. It's just injuries, and he's asked to do more in that scene. That's all. DeAndre Jordan is senior citizen too, by the way. It's a nice block and all that, but let's be realistic. There ain't gonna be no hacker DeAndre, and he ain't gonna play beyond his means. He's got minutes and restrictions. He ain't gonna be a focal point, but he'll do what he's supposed to do and what he can do. There you go. That's a good topic. Keep on naming them. Don't stop. That's not a bold take, because I mean, I watched these guys for where they are. That doesn't mean I didn't like them, but they got old. You know who else is a senior citizen that you ain't mentioned? James Harden. He's hanging on. Can he make it? Can he help them win? Oh, he's a young citizen. He's a young senior citizen. No, he's more than never was. Well, think about it. How many teams he been with in the last 3 years? And what's he really doing with the Clippers? He has some moments, but he's not a focal point. I mean, everybody knows it comes down to Kawhi and Paul George. He's third wheel. He became third wheel in Brooklyn. He was unhappy second, third wheel in Philly. Senior citizen to me. Senior citizen to me. Checks out. Ask somebody else. They'll tell you. Don't look at what he did 5, 10 years ago. I'm talking about what he's done the last 2 or 3. He looks senior citizen to me. He don't have that same fluid flow that he did. And his game, he has moments, but he hasn't looked like the Harding when that beard would get the automatic whistle and he'd step and do all that. He has moments, but he ain't the same cat. He's senior citizen. Yeah. Yep. And so is Russell Westbrook. Westbrook is too. Because Westbrook is playing on his best behavior and his best within the contributions to the team. Oh yeah, now this guy's been a senior citizen for Golden State for like the last 4 years. Yeah, he is. Where them triple doubles at? I'm and it's not a diss. Let me emphasize this. When I say a senior citizen, I'm not dissing. Let me explain. You're not where you were. You can still have active moments and you can still have some good, even some great moments, but you're not where you were. He's not the same player he was when he was in OKC. And in Washington, he was heading to being a senior citizen with the Lakers because his game, his peak and his prime of his best is behind him. He's playing role now. He's another man on the team that's doing whatever it takes to make sure that the main cats get involved. He's not Kawhi and he's not Paul George. Now, he has had moments where he looks great, but he's also had moments when he's just been one of the guys. When are you going to tell me that a league MVP is just one of the guys and that he's still considered top tier? But he fits in good, but it's not the same dude. Yeah, and he has some good games too. Actually, Mike Conley looks better than Russell does, but he is a senior citizen with Minnesota. He is. Because he plays his role. He ain't asked to be that dude no more, but he has some moments. He has moments. And he's going to be integral to them. Drew Holiday's a senior citizen too. Again, it's not a diss. It's not saying that you antiquated that you can't. Well, if you must know, he had early retirement for the last 5 years. It just didn't, his paperwork just didn't come through. Because he ain't really done nothing different. I remember I used to watch him in Port, watch that stuff. Ain't nothing different. Ain't nothing different. The only thing is he's in a bigger spotlight with a team that's got a bullseye on their behind because he's playing with one of the two best players going today, and the heat is too much for his behind. Dak's been one for like 4 or 5 years. I mean, he is what he is. Now, he's still top tier. He still can ball. Kelsey's still producing. Now, I will say this. If you start to see him falling off in the season, he's not getting his, requirement touchdowns and catches and stuff, then I'll say that. But now he came up big in the postseason. He was big. He came up big against the Bills. He came up big against the Ravens. Miami, he had big catches. So no, I'm not gonna say that. He has had moments where he looked kind of seniorish. Some games he didn't really have it, but he came up big, so I can't say that about him because he's still an integral part. He is still. See, when I say senior citizen, you can't be. You got to be one of the. To not be a senior citizen, you got to be one of the 2 or 3 most important parts to your team, and you have to thrive at a big level. Oh yes, Lord, come on now. Look, he was great, but I talk about him in the past tense. That dude that was with the Rams, that dude hasn't showed up for the Bills. He's had some decent plays here and there. That ain't the same dude. And I'm not mad because he was great. That guy that played for Denver 10 years ago was a beast. That guy that played for the Rams was still great. That guy the Bills have had, he's a senior citizen. He has some moments, but he also has some moments when he just don't get it like he used to. And he's better than a lot of what they got. And he's one of those guys you would take a risk on. But he's a senior citizen. But let's not get too crazy. Let me start one at a time. Poirier. Because he lost a step. And it's definitely noticeable. Jameson, old folks home. That's another topic. That's the old folks home. Because his game never evolved. He's always done dumb stuff. He's kind of like the Nick Young. Yeah, I know. And I said he lost a step. He lost a step. Been around for a while. And I liked him a lot, but he lost a step. They was getting ate up in the secondary, and they feel they got to get young, they got to get quick. And he just, Jameson is old folks. I don't know. That's past senior citizen. He ain't gonna never start for nobody, and he'll end up doing some stupid antics or something dumb because he Heisman Trophy in the Florida State and what he did. But the guy never evolved from a 30 touchdown, 30 interception dude. And so he's not that legit. He didn't thrive in New Orleans. He had a squad. So he's old folks home. Yeah, he's old folks home. That's a tier to it. He's old folks home. That's the one. Because he younger than all them cats, but he's older than all those cats. Nobody in their right mind is going to give him a starting quarterback job. Nobody. In their right mind. And Lord knows, had he been halfway on point, Derek Carr's butt could have sat down. But he wasn't. I guess so. Because I got to familiarize with this thing. But yeah. like Joe Flacco's old folks home. Let's just get the ones out the way. He ain't seen the citizen. He's old folks home. They dug him out the old folks to see if he had anything, and he stunk it up against Houston. So he's not senior citizen because that came and went. He's old folks home. Some cats you just know. Some cats you just know. You know. So you might have disagree when I say this, but Mac Jones is old folks home. Well, he was a senior citizen because he played a long time, but he didn't play like a yeah, how old he was, but he still had more. He had better equipment to work with than a lot of these cats that I'm calling seniors now. None of them was seeing Moon when he was because he got in the league late, but he could play better than a lot of them. He was still better than a lot of them. If the NFL wasn't so racist and bigoted, we'll never know what them 6 years would have been like with Moon. We'll never know. 6 years he lost was huge. Which, if you round it up into calculation, it's almost like the equivalent to a decade because you got 6 years lost, and it's going to take you 2 to 4 years to get your tendencies and get your groove in. So it's really a 10-year swing. We'll never know. I'm a firm believer he'd have had those, he'd have been one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks ever. I fully believe that. I mean, he's one of my favorites. Yeah. And if you did him like you did Dr. J and you gave him a cast to work with, there's no telling. Because he was a bad man. No, because he was a senior in football, he was better than a lot of them cats that you mentioned above, though. A lot of them cats just got old in their style. But what I was saying before we started, Mac Jones is old folks' home. I'm putting him in the old folks' home. I ain't gonna give him senior citizen. I'm gonna put him in old folks' home. I don't see nothing for Mac Jones. And Doug Peterson can prove me wrong, but good luck with that. And when I call a cat old folks home, that means he'll say, "Oh well, when I was in my day, I did such and such and such, and when I was this and such and such and such." But his day wasn't that long, so Blaine Gilbert is senior citizen. Okay, I don't even discuss him. He had that one out of body with Jacksonville, and AFC Championship game. That was a long time ago. You barely remember him unless you're a football fan. He's senior citizen. Yeah, well, Gino is about this close from being old folks home. Oh yeah, we all had somebody that talked trash. I had cousins and folks that did that. Talking about how good they could play football and how good they could play basketball, and then you get them out there to play, and then their back gives out or something. I remember. But Gino's close to being on the, because he, you know, I mean, let's be realistic. He's borderline right now. He's close to old folks home. If he don't turn it up, because his fall off is so drastic and dramatic that it's starting to almost put me in the old fogey. And he had numbers. I know you're gonna mention touchdowns and stuff, but he had some missed opportunities with games. And I don't think he's gonna have that job over Fields. I just don't see it. I think they send him up to be a mentor to Fields. Yeah, he is in that predicament. Body may be giving out. I know he lost somebody close to him, but his situations have been so such that he ain't coming through. He might be headed towards old folks home because the truth of the matter is, unless he comes up big with him and Soto and Aaron Judge and he can carry something, he may be heading to the old folks home. I'm not really. I think he's getting to a downside, and unless they can turn it around, because for him to be the next most important clutch guy and them to be in last place or be mediocre as they've been, mm, I'm afraid so. Body's starting to give out. Big boy who, in order to be realistic, he didn't really get to be in this dude until he was pushing 30. So he's a late bloomer. And I don't know if the Steve Nash magic is going to wake him up or he's going to, it's one of those guys, he's talented, but a lot of what's that is there. He is getting old quick. He's getting old quick. And if he can't win, he will turn into a senior. He will turn the senior home because, yeah, and his body's giving out too. He still has high moments, but think about it, as long as he's been playing around, he can't make that team into a contender. They're not a playoff team. These stat pads and stats is great, but he had Otani, he had Pujols. And how many division titles they got to show for it? Postseason, rings, you know. He's seen the system, but he good though. He still has moments. Verlander has moments. And if he'd have kept his butt in Houston and go to the Mets, he wouldn't be in a senior citizen boat because he was great with the Astros. He went to the Mets, he looked like a senior. That's why he's in that boat. He made it. And you talking about Aroldis Chapman? You talking about that Chapman? That turkey is a never was who's in the old folks' home. Throwing hard and throwing the food out his door. I don't want that. No. He a young old folks. I think his days is about numbered. Because I don't see him coming to senior citizen. And I don't see him coming back to never was or scrub or because his arm is all over the place. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. And I don't know what he did. Yeah. Well, but he still has moments though. He has moments. And he always had my respect. I had never seen that before, so. Bumgarner's a bad boy. What's a bad boy? I got respect for that cat. I'll give what credit's due. He pitched out his mind. So. Real bad boy though. Yeah, well, he got older with the Yankees because when he's with the Astros, he looked young and he's been winning with the Yankees. They not on the same page. The synchronicity ain't together. And that's the problem. We might be talking about a great Yankee pitcher if we weren't so scrubby team. Play like bums, playing like bums, and we wrecking a guy and he just got old before your eyes. You play like bums and you squander it. And I hate to say this because I don't like to give nobody else no credit. He should have stayed in Houston because we have been bums with him. We have not been the Yankees. We squandered that greatness. And it's a shame. It's a travesty. I don't want another 82 and 80 year or getting beat by the Astros or not, just it's tough to talk. It's tough to take. I mean, it's nice to see Boston in the cellar, but we in the cellar with them. It's not fun. We went from getting 90s every year to barely getting 80 something. So Chris Bryant. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I had to think there for a moment. But yeah, there are people that and Aaron Rodgers is a senior citizen. Call the obvious. He's bordering though on old folks home though, because the way he hurt himself, that was old folks. That wasn't senior though. That was old folks home injury. And says who? I mean, let's do it. Mahomes, Josh Allen, Burrows, Tua, Jalen Hurt, Lamar Jackson. That's 6. This year he was. Uh, who got their team to the playoffs? Who got knocked out the first game? Tua was considered an MVP candidate. Rodgers was watching from the sideline. Rodgers last year in Green Bay, the team didn't make the playoffs. Tua last year made the playoffs. The last 2 years with Tyreek and everything he's got, he's a better quarterback than Aaron. I'm not saying for a career, and I'm not saying, but I'm saying the last couple of years because I haven't seen Aaron Rodgers perform at a standard since that game against Tampa Bay when he scared to dive to the end zone in the NFC Championship game. So correct me if I'm wrong. I named 6. Who else can I mention? But I'm just saying the last couple of years. I said the last couple. Um, I mean, I call him old folks home. He was senior citizen for years with throwing all them bad interceptions and picks, but he's old folks home, and I still don't know how he keeps getting a job. I don't get it. Stop me if I'm lying. I don't get it. I I don't get it. I mean, Derrick Henry, he had all them bad picks. I mean, like, come on now. That's why whatchamacallit got fired there. 10-7 every year, acting like he gonna do something and get in the playoffs. And he starts throwing bad picks, takes bad sacks. And I'm like, he was second tier on a good day. Second tier by default. But Miami got rid of him because his bum tendencies, which led him to feel kind of scrubby, which he's in that bum scrub view. But he's actually hit towards old folks home because he been around long enough, but he still does the same. He's Yeah, we gotta send him to the old folks home. He ain't gonna win with him. And there ain't no great moments. It's because it covers his behind. Because he had a Derrick Henry and he had some plays. It wasn't because of his great quarterbacking skills. So I never been big on Ryan Tannehill. I didn't get it. And Vrabel saw it too. That's what happened. Gotta leave that scrub alone. He had some bum moments, but then he became Scrubville. So I'm done with him. This will be one of my last questions before I go because I gotta go eat. But on that note, Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson. And it's not even close. Clemens was great for what he did. He came over and he pitched and he came up big. And he was an add-on to what we already had won. Remember, A-Rod had already, I mean, not A-Rod, G'd already won a couple rings. A-Rod came after the fact, but Reggie was the one. Well, They wanted this defensive meaty guy who could try to structure a team that was going to play with a mediocre quarterback and a power game. It's a strategic move. It's the Wade Phillips syndrome. You can play that old way of 20 points as tops, keep the other team to 14. We'll nickel and dime. We'll be feisty. We'll fight. That's what Tom Coughlin got over. Oh, I get it if you get, but this guys ain't Tom Coughlin. Okay. Fisher was okay with that, but then once he got to that Super Bowl, and then he stayed on that same ideology for 20 years. And then Vrabel, same thing. You win a round of the playoffs. Maybe we get to the second round, we lose. Oh, we'll be back next year. And then you hear that same song for 20 years straight. They finally got tired of that mess. But they squandered Derrick Henry's career with a slightly above average quarterback who played usually below as time went on. He kept trying to bring in quarterbacks and, you know, and when whatchamacallit went there, DeAndre, when they went there to get a receiver, I'm like, are you crazy? You went there because it's tax less money and you're in the South. And maybe you went to a rib shack or you wanted something. You didn't go there because of the quarterback. I mean, are you crazy? So no. But anyway, I'm going to take off. It was great. Great conversation, great feedback. Look forward to the coming back again. Stay safe, stay warm, stay cool, stay blessed. Appreciate y'all. Have a great night. I'm out. Peace.